Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder. Today we're diving into a company that's been hitting a few bumps in the road. Let's just say after reading this report, you might want to check if their office has an everything must go sale before we start. If you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below where you can chat with other investors and analysts. We're looking at an 8K filing from Spanley Holdings Corp. Think of an 8K as a company's we need to tell the SEC something important form. This one's got a bit of everything: financial waivers, facility shutdowns, leadership changes, and even talks of potential insolvency, meaning they might not be able to pay their bills. First, let's talk about some debt. Spanley has these things called convertible notes held by Glencore and Wood River. Basically, these are loans that can be turned into company stock. The problem? The market where their stock is traded, the OTC US market, has certain requirements like a minimum market capitalization, which is the total value of the company's outstanding shares. Span needed a little help here. They got waivers, which are like permission slips from Glencore and Wood River to keep trading on the OTC US market. Even if they didn't meet those minimum requirements, these waivers were set to expire in late April of 2025. So what did Sam Tiscal do? They extended the waivers with both Glencore and Wood River. This extension pushes the deadline to early May of 2025. Basically, they bought themselves a little more time to meet the requirements, otherwise they will be in trouble. But here's the kicker. The filing says that Span needs more money to keep the lights on and pay its bills. The company says that regardless of the waiver extension, Spanley requires additional financing to meet its obligations, and that they need to repay its liabilities arising from the ordinary course of business operations when they become due in order to continue as a going concern. This is a major red flag. It means they're struggling to stay afloat. To make matters worse, despite trying to find a financial solution, Span hasn't found anything that works. The company may need to significantly modify or terminate its operations and may need to dissolve and liquidate its assets under applicable insolvency laws or otherwise file for insolvency protection. In other words, they might have to shut down parts of the business, sell off everything they own, or even declare bankruptcy. To try and avoid this, Ispan Isakan has hired Hilco Corporate Finance to help them find buyers for their business or assets. They're basically looking for someone to buy them out, either as a whole or in pieces. Now let's talk about some cost-cutting measures. The company is suspending operations at its Arizona and Alabama recycling facilities. This means those plants are temporarily shutting down. Because of the shutdowns, Spanley is temporarily laying off around 85 employees at those facilities. And it's not just the plant workers. Spanley is also cutting jobs at its headquarters, reducing its workforce by approximately 34 positions. In total, they're getting rid of around 119 positions, which is about half of their entire workforce. The company estimates that this workforce reduction will cost them around $264,000, mostly for severance payments, which is money they pay to the laid-off employees. Next up, leadership changes. Ajay Kochhar is stepping down from the board of directors and will no longer be the company's president and CEO in May of 2025. For a few months after he leaves his role, Kochhar will serve as an advisor to the company to help with the transition and the sale of the business. Span will pay Kochhar's consulting company for his services. Basically, they're hiring him as a consultant after he leaves his executive position. Craig Cunningham is also leaving his role as Chief Financial Officer. Span is giving Cunningham a severance package and paying him for a short advisory period to help with the transition. To help steer the ship through these rough waters, Spanley has appointed William Aziz as Chief Restructuring Officer, or CRO. Think of the CRO as a turnaround expert, someone who comes in to help a company fix its problems and get back on track. Spanley will pay Aziz's consulting firm a monthly fee, with a bonus if he can successfully restructure the company. Michelle Faisal is joining Spanley as Interim Chief Financial Officer. She's basically filling the CFO role temporarily while they look for a permanent replacement. Span will pay Faisal a monthly consulting fee for her services. The company's previous report, their annual report on Form 10K, details the risks to their business. Alright, that's our breakdown of Tenley Cycle's latest filing. Now, looking at these events more broadly, Spanley Cyclone is clearly facing significant challenges. They're struggling with their finances, shutting down facilities, cutting jobs, and changing leadership. On the one hand, bringing in restructuring experts like the Chief Restructuring Officer could help them navigate this difficult period. On the other hand, the possibility of insolvency and liquidation is a serious threat to investors and employees alike. The biggest risks are definitely their ability to secure additional funding and successfully restructure their operations. So what's your take on these events and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Also, don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.